Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of shipbroking interviews. You're prepping for that big interview, right? And we are here to help you navigate these waters. We've got a stack of RoleCatcher resources to kind of guide us here, from sample questions to career insights. Plus, we'll see how RoleCatcher's AI can be your secret weapon.
Yeah, it's not just about knowing the answers you know, it's about showing them you understand the complexities of this industry. Think market trends, global connections, and building that all-important trust.
Okay, let's unpack the first question they might ask. What motivated you to pursue a career as a shipbroker? That's a pretty common one, but it's your chance to make a first impression.
Definitely. You know the interviewer wants to see your passion for this specific field. Did a particular experience spark that interest? Maybe a family connection to the maritime world or a fascination with logistics on a global scale?
Yeah, so instead of a generic "I like boats" answer, share a story that reveals your genuine interest. Did you devour books about famous shipping routes? Or spend your childhood glued to documentaries about life at sea?
Exactly. Show them you've gone deeper than surface level. And be ready for a follow-up like, what aspects of shipbroking are you most excited about? This is where you can showcase your knowledge of the field. Is it the thrill of negotiation, the complexity of global trade, or the opportunity to specialize in a particular niche?
Speaking of staying ahead of the curve, the next question is often, how do you stay up to date with industry trends and changes?
They want to see your commitment to staying current, in a dynamic field. Don't just say, I Google things. Highlight specific resources like Lloyd's List or Trade Winds. Maybe you recently read an article about the impact of the Suez Canal blockage on freight rates, and that sparked your interest in risk management within shipbroking.
Well, that's a great example. It shows you're not just reading headlines, you're understanding the implications for the industry. And attending conferences or being part of professional associations shows initiative.
Right. It demonstrates you're actively engaged in the industry's evolution. And those experiences often lead to valuable networking opportunities, which is crucial in the shipbroking world. Speaking of relationships, the interviewer might ask, how do you build and maintain relationships with clients and stakeholders?
So it's not just about knowing your ships, it's about knowing your people.
Exactly. Highlight your communication and negotiation skills. But go beyond the basics. Give a specific example, perhaps a time you went the extra mile for a client, or successfully mediated a disagreement between stakeholders.
It's all about showing, not just telling. Now let's dive into the question of risk. How do you manage risk in your role as a shipbroker?
The interviewer wants to assess your analytical skills and awareness of potential pitfalls. This could involve fluctuating freight rates, geopolitical instability, even piracy in certain regions. They want to see how you would approach assessing and mitigating these risks.
So walk them through a hypothetical scenario. Let's say you're arranging a shipment of grain from Russia to Egypt. What are the potential risks and what steps would you take to minimize them? This is where understanding different vessel types, trade routes, and even insurance options comes into play.
Precisely. A strong answer demonstrates a deep understanding of the complexities involved. And speaking of complex situations, they might ask, how do you handle conflicts with clients or stakeholders?
Conflict is inevitable in any business, especially one with so many moving parts.
Right. They're looking for professionalism and a solution-oriented approach. Share an example of a conflict you successfully navigated. Did you have to say no to a client's unreasonable demand or find a compromise between parties with conflicting priorities? Focus on the steps you took to achieve a win-win outcome.
And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can help you practice these answers and get feedback tailored to shipbroking roles. It's like having a personalized coach analyzing your responses.
Absolutely. It can highlight areas where you might be using industry jargon incorrectly or where you could provide more specific examples to strengthen your points. This kind of targeted feedback can be invaluable in preparing for a shipbroking interview.
And before we move on, let's touch on some career insights from the RoleCatcher Guide. It mentions the high earning potential in this field, which is always a good motivator, but it also talks about the global reach of this career.
That's right. Shipbroking offers the opportunity to connect with people and businesses all over the world, negotiating deals and building relationships across continents. It's a dynamic field for those who thrive in a fast-paced international environment.
Okay, let's tackle the next question.
So let's delve into some more technical questions you might encounter. A common one is, how do you evaluate the suitability of a vessel for a particular trade route?
So they want to see if you can match the right ship to the task.
Exactly. It's about showcasing your knowledge of different vessel types, their capacities, and how they align with specific routes and cargo requirements. You need to consider factors like vessel size, draft speed, fuel efficiency, and of course, the type of cargo being transported.
Instead of just listing vessel types, we should paint a picture. Imagine they ask about transporting iron ore from Brazil to China. We could explain why a Cape-sized bulk carrier would be the ideal choice for that route, discussing its massive cargo capacity and suitability for long-haul voyages.
A concrete example like that demonstrates your grasp of practical application. It shows you're not just memorizing facts, you're thinking like a shipbroker. And speaking of thinking strategically, they might ask about negotiation skills with the question, how do you negotiate contracts and rates with clients and stakeholders?
This feels like where the real art of shipbroking comes in, finding that sweet spot where everyone feels like they've gotten a fair deal.
Absolutely. You need to highlight your understanding of market rates, client needs, and your ability to balance competing interests. Share an example of a successful negotiation, perhaps, where you secured a favorable rate for your client while ensuring the vessel owner was satisfied with the terms.
It's about showcasing that win-win mentality. And this is another area where RoleCatcher's AI can be incredibly helpful. We can practice our negotiation strategies and get feedback on our approach.
That's right. The AI can analyze your language tone and even the concessions you're willing to make. It can provide insights into how to strengthen your negotiation skills and achieve more favorable outcomes. It's like having a virtual mentor guiding you towards mastery.
And speaking of mastering the market, another common question is, how do you analyze market trends and forecasts to provide clients with insights and recommendations?
They want to see your analytical abilities and market awareness. How do you gather and interpret data? Are you following key shipping indexes, like the Baltic Dry Index? Do you understand the impact of global events, like a surge in demand for oil from a particular region on tanker rates?
We need to connect the dots between data points and real-world implications. For instance, let's say there's a sudden increase in demand for LNG from Europe. We could explain how this would likely drive up LNG carrier rates and how we as shipbrokers would advise our clients to secure vessels early to avoid paying inflated prices.
Exactly. Show them you're not just looking at numbers, you're anticipating shifts in the market and providing strategic counsel to your clients. And speaking of staying ahead of the game, let's look at another question. How do you handle multiple projects and deadlines simultaneously?
In the fast-paced world of shipbroking, I imagine juggling multiple deals is par for the course.
Absolutely. They're assessing your time management and organizational skills. Don't just say, I'm organized. Give them a glimpse into your system. Do you utilize project management software, color-coded spreadsheets, or a meticulous to-do list?
And share an example of a time you successfully juggled multiple demanding projects, highlighting your ability to prioritize, delegate, and meet deadlines under pressure. Perhaps you had to finalize a charter agreement while simultaneously coordinating vessel inspections and dealing with unexpected delays.
A compelling story demonstrates your ability to thrive in a fast-paced environment. And on that note, let's look at one more question that focuses on client satisfaction. How do you ensure that all parties involved in a transaction are satisfied?
This goes beyond just closing the deal. It's about building trust and fostering long-term relationships.
Exactly. They want to see your commitment to providing exceptional service and ensuring a smooth transaction for everyone involved. Highlight your communication skills, your proactive approach to problem solving, and your ability to find creative solutions when challenges arise.
Perhaps we could share a story about a complex deal where we had to navigate unexpected obstacles, maybe a last-minute change in cargo specifications or a delay in port clearance. We could describe how we communicated effectively with all parties, found solutions that met everyone's needs, and ultimately ensured a successful outcome.
A story like that showcases your ability to go above and beyond, and it leads nicely into another key career insight from the RoleCatcher Guide: specialization.
The guide mentions how shipbrokers can focus on specific vessel types or cargo, becoming experts in a niche market. This allows us to develop deep knowledge and build strong relationships within a particular segment of the industry.
Exactly. Specialization can be a rewarding path for those who are passionate about a particular area, like tankers, dry bulk carriers, or perhaps even the burgeoning market for offshore wind farm vessels. It's about finding your niche and becoming a sought-after expert in that field.
Now, before we move on to the final set of questions, let's take a moment to emphasize how RoleCatcher's AI can be a game changer in preparing for these interviews.
It's more than just practice questions. RoleCatcher's AI can analyze your responses for clarity, conciseness, and relevance to the specific job role you're targeting. It can highlight areas where you might be using industry jargon incorrectly or where your answers lack the depth and detail that interviewers are looking for.
It's like having a personal editor for your interview responses, helping you refine your language and deliver a more impactful presentation. And the beauty is, you can practice as many times as you need, receiving personalized feedback with each iteration.
It's a powerful tool for boosting your confidence and ensuring that you're fully prepared to showcase your best self in the interview. Now let's dive into a few more questions that are specifically geared towards understanding your industry knowledge and analytical abilities. All right, so let's kick things off with a question that really tests your knowledge of the fundamentals. What do you understand about the different types of charter agreements in shipping?
So we need to show them we know our voyage charters from our time charters and everything in between, right?
Exactly. Explain the key differences between these charter types. A voyage charter covers a specific trip, while a time charter gives the charterer control of the vessel for a set period. And then there's the bareboat charter, where the charterer takes full responsibility, almost like becoming the temporary owner.
We should be ready to explain when each type would be most suitable. Like a coal importer might prefer a voyage charter for a one-off shipment, while an oil company might opt for a time charter to have flexibility in their operations.
Right, those real-world examples demonstrate your understanding of the practical applications. Now, here's a question that's becoming increasingly important. How do you stay informed about changes in maritime regulations and their impact on the shipping industry?
Yeah, with the push towards sustainability and stricter environmental standards, this feels like a critical area to stay on top of.
Absolutely. Mention organizations like the International Maritime Organization, IMO, and be familiar with key conventions like MARPOL, which deals with pollution prevention. Maybe you recently read about the IMO's 2020 sulfur cap regulations and how they've impacted fuel choices and costs for ship owners.
That's a great example. It shows we're not just aware of regulations, but we understand their real-world impact on the industry. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can come in handy again.
Right. Their database of real interview questions includes ones specific to regulatory changes. Practicing those will help you sound confident and knowledgeable in the interview.
Okay, let's tackle one more industry-specific question. Can you describe a time when you had to handle a complex shipping transaction involving multiple parties?
They want to see you can manage complexity, coordinate with various stakeholders, and ensure a smooth transaction.
Maybe we could talk about a time we had to arrange a shipment of refrigerated cargo, coordinating with the supplier, the vessel owner, the insurance company, and even customs officials at both the origin and destination ports, highlighting the challenges like tight deadlines or unexpected inspections, and how we overcame them through communication and problem solving.
A detailed anecdote like that showcases your ability to handle pressure and think on your feet. And it segues nicely into one of the key career insights from the RoleCatcher Guide: the fast-paced and dynamic nature of this industry.
The guide mentions that shipbroking is not for the faint of heart. It's a career that requires adaptability, resilience, and a passion for the ever-changing world of global trade.
Exactly. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive, let's emphasize that acing the interview is just the first step. RoleCatcher's AI can be a valuable tool throughout your shipbroking journey, helping you stay updated on market trends, develop new skills, and connect with industry professionals.
It's like having a continuous support system guiding you towards success in this exciting and challenging field.
So there you have it, a deep dive into preparing for your shipbroking interview. Remember, it's about showcasing your passion, knowledge, and the unique skills that make you stand out.
We've covered a lot of ground today, but this is just the beginning of your journey into the fascinating world of shipbroking. Good luck and smooth sailing.